when it comes to conversations around the fourth estate, that is the media, and its responsibility towards being accountable on the information that they give out to the masses is at the heart of this debate today. And the motion reads, the Kenyan media is underperforming in their role as a watchdog to the people of Kenya. The Kenyan media is underperforming in their role as a watchdog to the people of Kenya. Debating this motion is Nyangwa Boys versus Meru School in the Upper Eastern Regional Debates. Team proposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
My dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here before you today supporting the motion, Kenyan media is underperforming in their role as watchdogs in our society. Now, I'm not here to spread propaganda or frivolous banter. I'm here to impart knowledge. My name is Michael Koru from Meru School. Now, what is media? Media is a main means of mass communication. We have 3 forms of media currently. That is the broadcast media, TV, radio. We have our second, that is our published media, the print media, newspapers, magazines, books. All these are print media. And the third, which is basically the largest form of the media currently, social media, internet, apps like Google, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp. All these are forms of the internet media, social media. Now, today we're discussing about underperforming. What is underperforming? Yes, the media is doing something, but they're not up to task. They're not doing enough. The media is doing something, but not enough, underperforming in their role as watchdogs in the society today. What is a watchdog anyway? A watchdog is basically a monitor, monitoring what we are doing, when we are doing it, and how it affects us in any way. Now, on to my first point. Where do we get most of the information we have today? That is the internet. Basically, that's where we get it from, Google, Wikipedia. But how reliable is the information we get? How well off is the information that we receive from such media sources? The Google, the Wikipedia. Did you know that you can currently edit Wikipedia articles? That is very disturbing. It's absurd. How will we edit our own information, not knowing whether it's correct or wrong, bringing about misinformation in the media we have as of now? They're not doing anything to the Kenyan media, that is, they're not doing anything to restrict such alterations to the Wikipedia or such, meaning any information can be brought out. I can wake up tomorrow and say that fish are walking on land. Will it be correct? No, but it's in the internet. Many people will take it as any other thing that will be said on the internet, on the social media. It's not right. They should have restrictions to such. They should do something about it, perform better than they are, so that we cannot have such misinterpretations, misinformations. I'll go on to my second point, and that is a vice that is scourging our population today. We all know what gambling is, right? It's everywhere as of today. It's in the internet, going rampant in our youths, in our adults. It's very absurd that the media is doing nothing to change this fact. We can see that, for example, on KTN, they have the show on Lotto, 30 minutes straight on gambling, doing nothing about it. Is that really how we should be going about this?
Team opposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am David Nyangwa from the great Nyangwa Boys High School, standing here to greatly oppose the motion that says that the media has underperformed, to oppose the motion that says that the media has underperformed in its role as a watchdog to the Kenyan society. Now, the media has come a long way from where it is today. There existed a time where there was only one media monopoly, with the Voice of Kenya as the only radio station. Contrary to what we have today, we have so many radio stations. And on the 27th August 2010, we promulgated our new constitution. And in the new constitution, it provided for the rights and freedoms and independence of the constitution, the media that we have today. Now, my friend here has majored mostly on the internet. Now, my question goes to you. The Kenyan media I expected you to talk more on. Now, my question goes to you. That you've stated that mostly the Kenyan media, that the internet is focusing more on gambling. Now, is gambling really wrong? Is it really wrong? And on to my first point, the Kenyan media has greatly helped in calling out government impunity. We found that scrutinizes the media scrutinizes the government, and the fact that it has the ability to call out politicians and other people with interest. For example, the Nation Media Group recently did a story which involved a 6 billion shilling edible oil scandal, on which the Cabinet Secretary for Investment, Trade and Industry, the CS Moses Kuria, was implicated because the deal lies squarely on his decode. Now we can see that the media has performed in its duty. It is calling out government impunity. And for you to actually stand here and say that the media is doing practically nothing, is that really what you want to mean when you say that it is underperforming in its duty as a watchdog to the society? On to my second point, the media exposes social issues. The media outlets in Kenya often bring attention to social injustices. For example, we have a renowned investigative journalist by the name Jonala Namu, who did a documentary which was titled Justice Be Our Shield. This documentary is about the Mavoko 3 murderers and exposed about the kidnapping and torture and murder of a human rights lawyer, his clients, and their trusted drivers by the police. Now, the media has shed light on this issue, raising awareness on impunity and incompetence in our police department, and therefore it promotes us to discuss on the changes.
Team proposition, second speaker, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Victor Kimathi, and I'm here on a simple motion to technically defend the truth. And one thing about defending the truth is that it defends itself. I'm here to propose a motion that reads, the Kenyan media is underperforming in its role as a watchdog to the Kenyan people. So first, to offer my rebuttal. To our opposers, you said that the Kenyan media has come a long way. We do not disagree with that. It has come a long way, but for what reason? It has come to lead us to the desert for us to die. You said something about corruption, getting some scandals and what have you. Kenyans are actually tired of these stories. You get a story about corruption, I've heard about 1 million cases about corruption, then what next? It takes me to my first point, that the Kenyan media is actually, in a current state, an institution to propagate propagandas. Now hear me and hear me well. I'll start by giving you a relevant example that happened around 2019. So they get a governor from one of our counties, they put it all over, the mainstream media, television, radios, oh, she has stolen, she has done this, she has money under her pillow. Then, she was never charged guilty in a court of law. They only used the media to tarnish her name. They are repeating the same mistake, doing it again and again. Now they have another scandal for our CS, and the story will run along in the same way that it does. Kenyans are actually tired about this. The Kenyan media is underperforming in its role as a political watchdog. The Kenyan media is supposed to be a referee in the political arena, but what is it doing? The Kenyan media is a referee who scores a hat trick in a game that is refereeing. To my second point, the Kenyan media is underperforming in its role as a moral watchdog. So we all know basic knowledge that the Kenyan media, has 3 segments: social media, mainstream media, and print media. So I'll major on social media being the main segment of media. So social media is actually exposing our population as Kenyans to explicit content. Did you know that a third of the top 10 most visited sites are pornographic sites? Did you know That is what the Kenyan media is doing. And yet you have got the audacity and tenacity to say that it is not underperforming. If the Kenyan media was performing its role as a monitor, then it could have curbed this, it could have blocked these sites, but it does not care. If it cared about our future generation, cared about the young generation, cared about the Sustainable Development Goal number 12, it could have, but it doesn't. To my last point, cyberbullying. For those of you who do not know about Kenyans on Twitter, it has been tagged the most racist, one of the most racist places in social media. There's even a saying, if you believe you're very good looking and you've got the courage, try posting your picture in KOT page. Thank you.
Team opposition, second speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Well, it is true that we cannot live in a world without a media. Therefore, I am Ryan Joroge from the great Nyangwa Boys High School, ready to oppose the motion the Kenyan media has underperformed its role in the watchdog to its country. First of all, the team proposition here talked about corruption and how the media has been an agent for spreading propaganda. But let me tell you, in the Constitution, Article 34, it guarantees the freedom of the media. Therefore, this means that the media has the freedom to report on what they think is affecting the Kenyan media has the freedom to report what is affecting our country socially, politically, and economically. And how is this achieved? This is through the investigative function of the journalism, whereby the Kenyan journalism or the media has indulged itself in investigating journalism, whereby it has promoted investigative reports which have led to the resignation of some of the public officials, therefore paving way for initiation of legal proceedings against those who have been involved in wrongdoings of injustices. For example, in the year 2020, the Nairobi governor, Mike Mbuvi Sonko, that's the former Nairobi governor, Mike Mbuvi Sonko, was exposed by the media of being involved in corruption, which we all know it was true, because it was also cited here that he misused the public funds in benefiting himself. We even got to see a picture of his office, how it looks, all the gold ornaments. Therefore, how can you say that it is propaganda and yet the media is doing its work justly? Or are you going to say that they are being blabbermouths in exposing one's social life? No, we cannot say that. Secondly, public interest advocacy. Media organizations in Kenya often advocate for public interest by highlighting on social issues affecting the general population. Some of these issues affecting the general population are, for example, the economy. A great example is the budget which was read last month by the cabinet secretary in charge of treasury. It is through the media that we got to know how the government plans to reallocate the budget to various state departments, how the government is planning to solve the issues of salary, more so the public servants, which has been trending all over. Therefore, I kindly ask you to join us in our team in opposing the motion the Kenyan media has underperformed in its role as a watchdog to the country. Thank you.
Proposition, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot rest my case until I have rested my opponent's case. See, it's quite disturbing that the fourth proposer, or rather the third opposer, said that the media exposed the gold jewelry of the former governor, Mike Mbuvi Sonko. So all that media does is expose gold jewelry. It doesn't make much sense to me. So second, was he taken to court and was he charged? with whatever he was charged with. Obviously, you can take me to court, but until the court proves me guilty, ladies and gentlemen, I am not guilty. My name is Kimathi Wina, proposing the motion that the Kenyan media has tremendously underperformed and is continuing to underperform in its role as a watchdog. Oh, great watchdog, you are blind. And I think this is a deja vu. Just like 3 blind men taken close to an elephant, our dear opposers are telling us that an elephant is a long trunk. That was the first blind man. And the second blind man tells us that the elephant is a huge belly with tough skin. And the third blind man tells us it's just a tail. Believe me, they are not wrong. But I dare say they are never right and they will never be. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the bare truth. Take it from the men of understanding, from the bird's eye view. An elephant is a huge animal. And from our perspective, our watchdog is either blind or is hallucinating, definitely seeing things that are not there. Actually, media has become a breeding spot for illicit televangelism. Ladies and gentlemen, on that November 2014, there was a clergyman who was put on the spotlight for performing fake miracles. If you understand me, he staged managed miracles. Almost a cool decade later, the clergyman has 2 stations. That's the media for you. We can appreciate them. Let's give them a clap. They're really doing a good job. So to my second point, we have the eye for the people. Okay, there was this program on KTN called Jicho Pevu around 2014. Actually, the last program they did was on 24th July 2017, more than half a decade ago. Where did they go? What did our watchdog do? It died. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kenyan media is underperforming. To my final point, a report by the Kenya Media Assessment in 2022 confirmed that 5% of the total Kenyan population with access to the 3 types of media confirmed that all the information they get is vague. Well, a cool 79% said they partly get good news, they partly get bad news. Okay, that's the media for you. Well, 16% only confirmed that they get clean news. So from this, we deduce that we have 84% inefficiency, 16% effectiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Kenyan media for you. Take it.
Team opposition, third speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Media is a powerful weapon. It can make the guilty innocent and the innocent guilty. I greatly agree with Malcolm X to support the motion that the Kenyan media is underperforming in their role as a watchdog to the people of Kenya. My friend, my third opposer, he was not the second. He was not the third. He was the second, actually. You have asked a question that, did we see whether Mike Sonko was taken to court? If you exist in that time, you saw very well that he was summoned in the Senate and is now no longer the governor of Nairobi. Ladies and gentlemen, as we take it to another part, holding government accountable, we have seen it. Finance bill, this one, the Finance Bill 2023. If it were not the media to hold these debates, maybe some of these things that were to be taken in the Finance Bill, they could hurt some of the citizens that we have. What do I mean by holding government accountable? This is calling out whenever the government does wrong. The government proposed 3% tax levy for those who are employed by the government. But what did the media do? If it was not the pressure that media gave to the government, that's why we see they reduced this from 3% to 1.5%. Election monitoring. We have seen these people working hard to educate these citizens. Illiterate citizens, they are educated, they are told their way to go, and also they organize presidential debates. Why reason to organize these presidential debates? This is simply true that they face their leaders. They hear what their leaders have to say on when they get into the seats, what they are going to do. We have seen also, they highlight what these Kenyan politicians have done in their manifesto. If you're there in the 2022 Kenya election, we saw Ruto was given a chance, or rather some time, that he got to explain his manifesto. The same deed was done to Raila Amolo Odinga as mayor. We see Waigama Waura, party. We also see Wajakoya in the Roots Party. Also him was given a chance to explain its manifesto. We not only believe, we don't only believe in the media. Of course, they may be underperforming, but every man is to error. Every man can have error. No complete man. Man is made of mistakes. Man is made of error. And that's why we should not only see, if you see that the media, I heard you saying mostly on social media. Social media is a particular on its own. To another point, you came and said that Jicho Pevu, that was a show that was created. Maybe the producers came broke, they could not afford to pay the journalists who are looking for such news, and the show was to go off. You don't know what happened. So it is not only in behind the scenes. Thank you. Lenson Modomi, Nyangwa Boys.
Team Proposition, you have 1 minute to give your closing remark.
A saddened Kimathi Victor is back on stage, but this time some happiness is creeping in. So all I've come to do is agree with him. Yes, man is to error, especially the media is full of errors. The media is full of errors. So in 1633, allow me to walk you through history. In 1633, Galileo Galilei is arrested and later killed for proposing a life-changing fact that the earth is not the only celestial body. For history scholars, they'll tell you that he invented the first telescope. That is not of much essence. But today, times have changed. And we are not opposing just for the sake. We are here to propose the truth and the fact. So the last speaker on stage, who's technically our fourth proposer, said that media gave Ruto a chance. I actually felt dishonored. It is not Ruto. His Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, the 5th president of this republic. And also, in which on this stage they give him, they also cause a blackout. Tell me, how can the largest media house in Kenya and among the largest giants we have a blackout when a presidential candidate is on stage? And mark you, it was only this once that I've ever seen such an activity. So ladies and gentlemen, having said this, the 4 of our speakers from the proposer side, rest our case.
Team Opposition, you have 1 minute to give your closing remark.
We are not here to heap praises on the media, neither are we here to criticize it. We are simply here to have a discussion and to acknowledge the fact that it has done its effort. Our opponents here are actually claiming that the media has done nothing, but that is actually unfair. And given the circumstances that they have gotten themselves in, it is true to say that they have in fact done the best to their best that they can. Given the circumstances that they are in, we see them being tortured, we see them being criticized, we see them being given threats. You see, like, investigative journalists often face threats from the government and other people with business interests and other political people with interests. The media, therefore, given an opportunity, will be able to do better. Our opponents here have given us a few allegations about the media. They have not even measured on the media itself, the entities. We have not even measured on the media itself, the media houses, for example, the Nation Media Group, the Media Max. You have not measured on those media groups. Therefore, given an opportunity, the media can and will perform better. But with the circumstances that they have gotten themselves in, they have done to their utmost best. I rest my case. Thank you.
A team is formed by 3 speakers, and so you want everybody to be at par, all right? Or even maybe way above the others. And I want to commend Victor and Winner, because we could tell you guys were quite at par in what you did. But let me talk to you, Koru, all right? because you came forward, and when you came forward, you spoke about, media underperforming, and you spoke about it being a watchdog. But now the question was, what watchdog? Where's the part of the watchdog? That's what we actually asked ourselves. When you talk about a watchdog, what are they doing? Because immediately we went to gambling. And then we asked ourselves, okay, give us examples so we can see, all right? In fact, the cross-examination asked you, what's wrong with gambling? Because you did not tell us what it's doing. When you go down to the effects of what it's doing, then that's what you can now start bringing in as an argument, all right? When you come to Victor, for example, they talked about failing on moral grounds, all right? It talks about some of the examples of some of the people accused, and they were innocent because when they were tried, there was nothing that came out. All those examples were relevant. When you come to Winner as well, Winner, actually you scored so highly for me because you brought in the element of televangelists. That's part of the media and what they are doing. Great examples that you brought in and reasoning. To Nyangwa, now the first speaker comes to tell us how the media is doing well, and you come up talking about scrutinizing examples, even the latest ones that you gave of the current edible oil example, all that, the social injustices. That was good, commendable for you as the first speaker, and you scored highly on that. So that's where now the Miss Moral was. Now, Ryan, you brought in an element about public interest advocacy, but some of your examples could have been a bit better placed. For example, the former Nairobi governor's example, you could have placed it that the media brought this out. When it brought it out, there was a case that was brought in, and after that, there was a conviction. So there's a way you can bring in a case well. All right, not don't just bring it in and say, for example, Sonko and whatever. Just bring it well with facts so that it comes out strong. So you had examples, just learn how to bring them well. Otherwise, the scores could have been higher. Lenson as well, I think I love what you brought in as well. I think debates for accountability that we could see as an example and the likes, and I think you're also a very confident speaker. And so I can't wait to see how the results turn out. We were here saying, oh, this is so close. Let's wait and see.
I just have one thing that maybe I expected to come out, and that was, when you're now proposing and saying actually the Kenyan media is underperforming, and when you brought out, the televangelism and all those things, I wanted to hear something about profiteering, the short-termness of the media to make money at the expense of social justice or what is happening to the people. So I expected that to come out. I also expected from the opposers to actually take your televangelism and flip that and say, we heard about Shakahola, we heard about all these things. That was the media actually limelighting that. So I expected you to flip that and counter their argument.
It has always been my dream to participate in such an event, and according to my expectations, the debate circle had it all. I've learned a lot of things about media have come about to my attention, so it has been a good experience for me. I've learned a couple of things, and I think it's a good thing. One, it gives you the exposure. Number two, it's a grooming spot for future leaders and public speaking. I loved it.
Personally, I would say that the experience was eventful, considering that this was the first time that we have competed in the debate circle. So it was eventful. Everything we expected is there, and we have enjoyed. Thank you.
I actually lost in drama. I wanted to become the best actor, and I had promised myself that when I come to debate, I'm going to be the best speaker. And indeed, I've done it, and I'm happy. It was just good, even though it was somehow tough. Yeah.
Thank you very much to judges. We have come to the end of this debate, and with me here, I have the results for both teams, and the judges awarded Nyangwa boys with 67.7%. A round of applause, please, for Nyangwa boys. And the judges awarded Meru School with 66.7%. A round of applause, please, for Meru School. And the winners of this debate are Nyangwa boys with 67.7%. A round of applause, please, for the winning team. We have come to the end of this debate here in the Upper Eastern Regional Debates. And until next time, it is goodbye from us. Remember to check our social media handles for more of this content on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitter at The Debate Circle. Kwaheri.